I don't belong really to no one. Hmm? The human being should not get subordinated to a certain society. The challenge to being a human being is much, much ample than to become a Bulgarian artist or to become a Bolivian artist or even be a Hungarian artist. You are a human being who have experience on this earth so long your life lasts. And this challenge should be absolutely let free with these forces, not with these surrounding accidental habits of societies. You should really be a human being with consciousness of all these things, but not limited by it, no? Art is the only answer, maybe, to the mystery of human existence, really. Because you can build houses and you can make a culture and you can live in a civilization and you can make a life, but it still remains the enigma of existence and you are always unhappy. But when the human being creates an artwork, puts the creator, whoever is, a god or nature, into a very complex situation. We answer mystery with enigma, because in a way is under the rules of the universe, our composition and what we are doing. But still is a step further. Nature and art, they are in a way in a dialogue. So it's not that one is less than the other. On the contrary, the human mind invented a nature by itself, what is art. And this duality really is, I think, what is this terrible tension what forms in us, you see. And we are always trying to decipherate things. Now, what I am looking for in my forms is to make forms that have no reminiscences, you see. And the two forms what I am doing, the soft form from one side with the aggressive on the other side, and it becomes a tension. And this must be something of a general human tension between these two wars what we feel, no? The idyllic world and the abstract, maybe the cosmological world. It did not arrive that I took a pencil and like Fontana or any other or Hartung made a line. The line had this enormous process and consequent development and chronological development through all the stages from figurative painting to the first abstract forms and to the polymorphic, and from the polymorphic it came to the Toldis, and from the Toldis it became the two Taltos lines. Then it became always closer and closer, and it became the line itself. But then, when I arrived to this point, then the subject matter of my painting, instead of investigating further the forms, became the line itself. So it's not more the meeting place of two forms only, but the preoccupation is the line itself. Everybody who was acquainted with a line thought that a line is only a separating place between two objects or a contour for one object. But in my case, the line has two sides and is not a line but a negative form between two shapes. In a way, is a new idea to the whole artists of modern art. The line is not used in this sense. The line is used like contour, the line is used like expression, the line is used for automatic drawings like Hartung, or dripping Pollock makes a line, or a very strong aggressive line, but is not studied the line directions and on both sides. So when I make a drawing, I make it both sides. Now what is new? What is original? And what is original but goes back to the origins? And the origins are ancestral and very old, is not new. So in a way, the real new is the oldest and the most authentic is what is not new. Only we call it new because we uncover it. And this is the reason that when a new discovery comes, new as the discovery, more harder to accept it for people. So they have to not only understand it, but to learn to live with it. So for example, the abstract art, after 70 years, people cannot still live with it. They understand it, but they cannot live with abstract art. Somebody who is living in a very modern house, they ask you, what is a Mondrian? And I tell them, you are living in a Mondrian. Now these two forms are not only two forms superficially or accidentally drawn. These are autobiographical lines, the whole life experience behind. But I think much more than that, because a life is only a carrossery, really a body, from a whole experience what it contains. So a human life itself represents London, Cicero, and Attila, and maybe a Chinese sculpture. So our experience is not only one man's life experience. One man can contain the whole world history in his mind and kaleidoscopically really changing it. So the same way, when I am telling to you that my paintings are autobiographical lines, that these lines, beside of only being aesthetical expression in a painting, contains a life experience, I believe that is not only my life experience, but it contains 1,000 other aspects of human activity. People can see women bodies in it. People can see geographical peninsulas and other things. Then there are other people who see sex. The other people are seeing wood or stone or other formations, no? But beside all this, there are also working on your mind in other aspects, not only the visual one. When it cuts in and the other recedes, there you feel like the painting would move. And then this comes back and attacks its lower part, and there the other kind gets an impact. So it's like war between forces. And this is telling us about other aspects of our life. So it's not only a painting, really. Now when you live in this scale, then it's very difficult for you to get into a social life, you see, in a life where life is used for a certain function in a society. And this is why I make the difference between life and being, because my life is not used for social consumer society kind of approach, but the other side. Now, when we go to art, art is just dealing with this part of life, in a part that has nothing to do with circumstantial habits or dresses or fashions, political fashions, even moral fashions. It's much deeper. It is only focused on the human existence. And this is what in all great art you have in common. In a face from Van Gogh or a face from Rembrandt, they are not portrait painters. A face from Rembrandt is an eternal human being, the eternal human condition. And this condition is not conditioned by social means. Because when you look in the eyes from Rembrandt when he's old, then you don't see a Dutchman in these years when he lived. The look from Van Gogh is not a man from the last century. He's like Christ. He could be a modern man. He could be any kind of human being, no? So that is a difference what you use your life for and life itself. The human being gets in itself tremendous dimensions. The infinite is more innate in the human spirit than the finite. Because when you tell for a human being that there are 6 million solar systems, any child would ask you, and what then? And that is what I call zwei sein im eins, you see, to be two in one. So you are mortal and eternal. You are granted from some crazy mind really that you can grasp eternity. And on the other hand, you live maybe 30 years. And you have to face it. Now if you face it, there comes the human condition when you are conscious from that, no? So when we can catch eternity in life, then we also can catch the transcendence of death, what makes our life life. When you can face death, then you come to terms with life. And then life becomes understandable and meaningful. So these two things in the human life are not only related biologically, but spiritually. And so when I was sitting as a child and I looked around in a big office, I remember it happened to me in Innsbruck, everybody there working, and I jumped up from my table and ran out into the park because I said, I will die. And these people don't know that I will die. And they don't know that they will die because they think that they live forever. And when I almost went crazy, that really I realized that I will die, then a spark came, you see, and I realized But thank God I am conscious of that, because from this moment, when I realized perfectly clear and very painfully, like when you see a child get born, cries is a tremendous pain to come to this world. And when I realized that I will die, it was me a second birth, because this was the painful recognition of my existence. You know this kind of human moments when you are one with nature and you are in a self-pity in a way, but in other way in a tremendous understanding. That moment was the first time consciously that I was born to this planet. You understand me? So from that point on, I live. And since then, I like to eat, to drink, to use my senses and everything, and enjoy life, really. But I never had attraction, like I call them little things. They always had only attraction for me, really, to search for human truth and to really use all my senses for my existence, you see. You can only understand it when you don't want to violate it, really, and to pin it down. When you want to pin it down, then you lose it. Because this whole idea, what I am talking about, is you can also attack it and you can also take it to pieces. Because you can only have great achievement when you make big mistakes. Who don't make achievements, they make so little mistakes that in proportion is nothing. For this Ortega said that good is not a virtue. Is no color when you have no opposite to it. So the same way, good does not exist without the other part. And if you don't make mistakes, you cannot make big achievements. So you don't take a risk, you cannot make a big painting. If you don't are disposed to make big mistakes, you don't do nothing. So the hell with the mistakes. You do what you are, and in this proportion what you are, you will have your mistakes and your achievements. It cannot be then analyzed that what would have been without mistakes, your achievements, because nothing would have been. The color like this accidentally put on the blanket looks fresh and quite expressive, you see, but to gain real solidity, you have to make it not accidental, but work into it, and more you work the color, it loses its freshness, but it gains in profundity, it gains intensity also, no? And that's the reason why I work it over and over to get not a pretty color, but an expressive one, you see. Yes, and behind the pretty is the beauty. You see, and maybe when you destroy the prettiness and you are courageous enough to go through the unknown, really, and still go ahead, then you can achieve beauty. When you are completely conscious of the fear and all the chances and risks what you take and still go ahead, when you really face a great work of art, like I faced the sculpture of Riemenschneider, or a Grünewald, or you see a Khmer sculpture, like I am very impressed with, no? Then you forget about your economical problems or that you die. For a while, you forget about the whole circumstantial aspect of life. So you live life in that moment like you would be connected with the universe power. So you are not more Andrew Smith from Minnesota or Giovanni Battista de Italy looking at the Sixtine Chapel, but you are a human being who are put through this art in a condition that you understand not only the whole humanity and all cultures, but you form part from a great universal brotherhood and not even brotherhood, no. It has to be a much bigger and ample word for it, you see. You are floating like in your mother's belly, you understand me? And the creation side is for the artist still greater because he is working like the hand of the universal creator, like from God, really. I did not make it. My hand was guided through something, and for me also was a revelation to paint like that. That really what I painted, I had not even thought about, and for me, really it was a whole new world. I looked at it also, and I took a bottle of wine and sit down and looked at it, and I said, what the hell, from where did you get that, really, no? And what is that, no? And this is art. Art is revelation, really, and art is elevation in a way. You should put people and yourself in a condition that levitate. We are coming from elsewhere, and we remember also things that we don't find here. So we are a cosmos people, we are from somewhere else, and the Weltgeist from Goethe, you see. But the Weltgeist you cannot find on one planet, really, because a universal spirit, no? The man is more universal than a localist, like you would be from Vermont or from Budapest or something. You are not from Budapest or from Vermont, you are from the universe, a universal man. So, as we are lost in space and in nature, the only answer to it I found is in art, where we build an autonomous enigma, like a counterpart to the universe or nature, but built completely on human spirit, like abstract art. So we build up for us a universe in this art. Now this is maybe an artificial one, but certainly is authentic in the way that no other living creature made it, only the human being. So in a way I found art in that sense as an answer to existence. Ahogy nem vissza.